certain way instead of letting nature take its course. There's nothing wrong with this, and the farmers and irrigators know that. The problem comes when you assume that this river should have colder water or more water, and you go to the people and you say, we're going to take your water. We're going to put the fish above the people. Because when you do that, you make enemies of the people. You begin worshiping nature.
Sir, I'm going to ask if you would fill out a speaker card, that kind of a comment we want to hear, but it should come during this comment period. We want to just answer related to what she said. Thank you. Right, just raise your hand up. That's right.
My family's been in the valley over 100 years, but I've only been here about 20. The things that are being planted, my family's property has trees along the river. They've always been there. But all of the new planting that's going in, the flood of '64 took out so much. How are all the new plantings going to hold up if we have another flood of that magnitude? Do they get washed out like everything else does, and then we're just starting over at the same expenses we've already had?
Well, rivers are dynamic systems, and floods are going to happen. I'm not the expert on those issues, but if the river, okay, I'll leave the Scott River alone for a second. In '64, French Creek was severely impacted by the flood, and if you look at the aerial photos, it was just ripped out. It's recovering through help and on its own to being quite a nice riparian corridor and supporting fisheries. So nature is going to set us back. That's what nature does. It's dynamic, but things will recover over time. So we're going to have setbacks, and it's not going to be what maybe the regulatory people want at all moments in time, but we just do the best we can. Mark?
NOAA Fisheries, their report, they said they spent $140 million to restore the coho salmon, and Fish and Game spent 40 and 80 years, we can figure, restoring the coho salmon with stuff like this and stuff in Shasta Valley. Are we any closer to delisting the fish after $250 million of taxpayers' money down the hole?
I can't answer questions about the delisting process. I'm sorry. We can't do anything about that.
Is the RCD production limited to projects that somebody from outside the area wants to fund?
We work with landowners, but as we're limited to what funding we have.
Does most of it, all of it, come from outside the county?
Most of our funding comes from federal or state sources. Preston, did you have a question? The 319H, we were hoping for at least 20. Peter?
As a local landowner, we have a riparian zone on Wildcat Creek, and a lot of the vegetation excludes cows from the creek, but there's definitely a section where cows can get into across the creek, and I'm aware that it's probably a small source of sedimentation. If on my property I wanted to fence that to exclude the cattle and help maintain water quality, what is the process of working with you guys, and do you help provide money for those projects?
You can work with the RCD. The Fish and Wildlife Service also works directly with landowners, and they're very interested in repairing issues, and I would send you to the Fish and Wildlife Service in Wairika. You're such a small piece, they could probably just directly help you.
Okay, but there is funding available for landowners to help. Okay.
Tom? You're referring to the CRP program that the NRCS and FSA operates, and I cannot answer any questions about that, but Chuck.
I'll say something about that right now. Yes, the FSA has done a tremendous job taking building a lot of repair and testing, putting in alternate stock watering, and I wasn't really prepared to say anything, but anyway, it's NRCS at the state level determined that some of the criteria that we used to put that in didn't follow the national guidelines, and so we hope that every California agency will put whatever influence they have to bear on the state NRCS. It's an FSA program, and I'm a county committeeman. As a county committeeman, I have no intention of ever voting against any of the ones we passed. But they're going over our head. They're not even bringing it back. We passed the contracts. The landowner signed the contracts in good faith, and they're sending cancellation letters out to these people. I feel, I went on different tours with them, and it's just like a lot of government things. There's so much leeway in these, the way the deal's written up, if you wanted to say nothing would qualify, you could do that, And maybe, some of the upland areas were a problem, but it wasn't a problem when loggers were logging in upland areas, but it seems that, some of these, drier streams and stuff, may not qualify. But certainly, the year-round fish-bearing streams and stuff should be able to qualify. And I feel, like my hands are somewhat tied at this time. But we're trying to do whatever we can to keep what contracts are in place. But the NRCS is going out and inspecting them, and so far they haven't hardly found anything that they feel qualifies. But I disagree. But anyway, that's where that stands right now.
That's a big issue, and it needs to be addressed. If you guys want to talk to him, it'd be a good idea at break time. Give us your name? Charlie Martin. You did get to come. Okay. Charlie Martin, talk to him about this. And I'm not too sure whether Jim Patterson's here or not, but yes, he's back there. You can talk to him. He's as upset about the whole thing as anybody, so.
Who do you want me to answer somebody's question?
No, not, I say during a break time or anything, you're a person, or Jim Patterson's a person to talk about this. He's as upset as you are, Charlie. So, okay, that takes, any other questions? We're about 5 minutes late. Okay, real quick question.
How much water does a closed canopy system in the Alpine Valley drain?
I have no idea.
That was a good answer.